All right, let's take you back to our team in Cape Town as promised. Shahan?
Yeah, Maseko, so of course we were listening to Minister Becky Cele there earlier on, giving police officers their marching orders when it comes to the safety and security around the parliamentary precinct, which is now at the City Hall in Cape Town. He's basically told them to use force if necessary. He says if people confront them, they should confront them, and he doesn't really want any nonsense here, and that's of course per the orders of the National Assembly Speaker Nosiviwe Mapisa Nqakula. Extra security measures at City Hall after the fire at the National Assembly in January this year. So police are being extra careful this time around. But Lindsay Dentlinger is also covering this story for us as we approach the 2022 State of the Nation address. And Lindsay, when it comes to the president actually delivering on his message and promises from last year, let's particularly look at the unemployment rate in this country and whether or not jobs have been created.
So, Shahan, I would think the President will be hard-pressed this evening to try to explain to South Africans why all those jobs he said would be created by the private sector when he delivered his State of the Nation address in 2021 have not come to fruition, and why the unemployment rate is now almost 5 percentage points higher than it was at the same time last year when he delivered this address. And to discuss this with me is COSATU's parliamentary coordinator, Matthew Parks. Matthew, thanks for joining us. What will Trade Union COSATU be listening for this evening, given those promises the President made last year, yet we see people queuing all over the city looking for grants, needing assistance at the labour offices and the like, and they just don't have those jobs that were promised to them?
Sure, look, I mean, we'd want to see from the President an assessment of what's been done in the past year since the last SONA. What's the plans going forward? But unemployment is our number one crisis. If we take the expanded definition of unemployment, it's about 46%. 2 million workers have lost their jobs in the past 2 years. Millions have lost wages. So we'd want to see, can the presidential employment program be doubled? It can help to create 2 million jobs, give young people experience, some salary, some skills. Can we also extend the 350 SOD grant, which has helped about 10 million people to buy bread, buy food for the family? We think there is space to do it, and we have to give some support to the unemployed because they're not going to find jobs tomorrow. But we also need to do much more about the structural blockages to growing the economy. So more support needs to be given to Eskom to ramp up maintenance, bring on board new generation capacity, because without reliable and affordable electricity, there can be no economic recovery. We need to save and fix Metro Rail and PRASA. Metro Rail is key to getting workers in the cities to work on time so the economy can be productive. But also we need to save Transnet, because that's critical to ensuring that our commodities, our mining, our manufacturing, our agricultural exports reach their destinations on time. So those are the key kind of things to growing the economy. But we also need to look at mobilizing financial stimulus for the economy, be it amending Regulation 28 to allow investment funds to invest in infrastructure. But also the banks need to come to the party. They need to give some sort of affordable loans and credit and grants to companies to help them to keep the doors open, help them to avoid retrenchments. But I think also there's a need for the President to say what has been done to plug the holes in the fiscus. We lose billions of rands to corruption, to wasteful expenditure. That deprives the economy of badly needed funds to grow it, to create jobs, to provide relief to the poor. The SONA Commission has been very clear on what needs to be done. So we really need to see from government a sense of urgency that those who have stolen from the state are arrested, go to court, go to prison, the assets be returned. Unless we deal with all these many ticking time bombs, we're not going to go forward as a nation, and we're running out of time. We have 2 years into the end of this term of government. Voters sent a very clear message in November last year. They are tired. Workers love government. They don't love government. They love the ANC. They have hope in the president, but they are running out of hope. And we need to see from government a sense of appreciation of the crisis we are facing and a sense of urgency to fix them.
Matthew, you're touching on very many issues there. I've got questions I still wanted to ask you. The basic income grant is a contentious issue. You speak about plugging holes in the fiscus, yet there are advisors to the President who don't think that this is a good idea. Just to be clear, would COSATU rather have that grant extended, or would you want the Presidency rather to use that money, government rather to use that money to create more jobs?
Look, we think we need to do both. We need to create jobs. That's the ideal situation. We need to be a nation of people who are employed. But in the meantime, we're not going to find jobs tomorrow. The 350 grant ends at the end of March. Those 10 million people are not going to find jobs in the 1st of April. So let's extend it. It is affordable. Let's see how can we increase it to the food poverty line of 624. But let us use it as a foundation for basic income grant. But at the same time, let's see how can we link it to the skills training programs, which are sufficient funds available, because you really want to help people to find jobs, not to be waiting for social grants. We need to be a nation where we have 30 million employed, not 30 million on social grants. So we need to do many things at once. We can't afford to sacrifice either. So I think for us, that's the critical thing. We've had engagement with government on it. We're confident they will do it. But also we can't afford to leave 10 million people without any source of income. The violence in KZN and Gauteng last year, and leave aside the political and criminal elements behind it, but it did feed into a sea of poverty and despair and hopelessness. So I think for us going forward, we have to extend solidarity to the unemployed.
You raised the issue of the unrest. We've just heard the police minister speaking about securing this event. What does that signal to you, that unrest in July and government's inability to keep a firm grip on that situation in terms of failing in terms of security?
No, there's a real failure of management in the state at times, including the security agencies. I'm not aware of a single person who's gone to prison yet for the violence last year in KZN and Gauteng, which cost 50 billion rand to the economy. Thousands of jobs were lost. People died. It's unbelievable that we have seen many of the people orchestrating it on social media, in newspaper reports. We've had the panel speaking to it. No one has gone to jail. Similarly with corruption. We've had hundreds of people implicated in the SONA Commission. No one has gone to jail. So government has to get a grip on that. We appreciate the president can't be the one to arrest people. That's correct. But if the heads of the National Prosecuting Authority and the police service are not willing to do the job, they must make space for those who are willing to do it.
Thank you very much. Matthew Parks from Kasatu. So, Shahan, many of those hot button issues you've just touched on as well, unemployment, the security situation, corruption, all those key things we've heard from the President speak about time and time, year after year. And really, as Matthew Parks pointing out, this is now the halfway point of the President's government and his presidency, and people are looking for definitive answers as to when all these promises are going to be delivered on, Shahan.
Yeah, Lindsay, out of everything he said, I think I heard him say that the people, workers, love the president and the ANC. Did I hear right?
I think he did correct himself there, Matthew. You've been questioned about saying workers love the presidency. Well, as he said, they like the promises, they like the ideas that government is putting forward, but maybe not so much, Shahan, the fact that these are not being delivered upon or not being delivered upon as quickly as one would hope.
All right, we're going to leave it right there, Lindsay Dentlinger.